Welcome to the Got Any Cows podcast. If you want to learn all you can about the beef cattle industry, this is the podcast for you. My name is Seth Christensen. My company has sent beef cattle genetics to 45 of the 50 states and 12 countries around the world. I've had the chance to learn from some of the best and brightest in the beef cattle industry, and I invite you to join me for those conversations here on the Got Any Cows podcast. I am here with my good buddy Ric Fennell at the American Akaushi Association Convention. We're in Kansas City this year. I appreciate you taking the time, Ric, to sit down with me and count you and Cynthia as good friends in addition to business associates, and look forward to recording some of your story here today. But if you would, Ric, go ahead and introduce yourself a little. Tell us about who you are, where you're from, and how you got into Akaushi.
All right. Yeah, sure. I'm Ric Fennell. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be in Kansas City this year. It's a lovely town. My story pretty much goes back to about 10 or 11 years ago. My neighbor was ready to retire and move into a smaller place, and he had some cows over there, and I had never had cows before. He came over and sat on my back porch with me one afternoon and said, "I'm wanting to sell my place, and I'm wanting to sell it to you."
Huh.
The whole thing, cows and all. So I said, "Okay, how much?" And he said, we'll come to an agreement. We'll figure that out. You know, that's details.
That's details, yeah.
So all of a sudden, I was in the cattle business.
Okay.
What
had you done professionally prior to that?
Oh, I'm an electrical engineer.
Electrical engineer. Okay,
right.
So just like running cattle, mostly.
Right. I had never, I went to Texas A&M. They taught me nothing about cows. Taught me a little bit of electrical engineering and some math, but nothing about cows. So I all of a sudden inherited almost some cows, 16 cows, a Brahma bull, and I quickly realized that I was not cut out for the Brahma cattle
That's
business.
what I was going to ask. I was like, how did that go, having a Brahma bull?
Well, it was a little scary. I never got close to them. Hired people to come in and work the cows, and saw one of the Brahmas bang one guy up pretty good one time. So I really respected them, was scared of them. And I know there's probably some gentle Brahmas out there. I just didn't happen to have any of them.
I haven't run into very many.
Right. So I quickly, I had that same group of cowboys, some guys that come work my cows for me. I had them help me move that bull, find a buyer for it. And I quickly bought a Black Angus bull because, I grew up thinking certified Black Angus is the way to go.
Sure.
And that bull was quite a bit more gentle. And I think that we actually had some pretty good cows. I kept a lot of the heifers, kind of grew the herd a little bit, and pretty much one at a time I got rid of the cows that had been left over from the Brahma days. Okay. Not all at once, but I got rid of them over the next couple of years. And so I was in the Black Angus business, and this is probably 2016 to 2018.
Okay.
About that time, my brother, who is he loves good steak. I'll say that he's a man who knows his steak. Mm-hmm. He came to me and he started saying, "You need to buy a Wagyu bull. That's where the steak that makes the best steak." And I said, "No, I don't know anything about that." So the next time he approached me, "You need to buy an Akaushi. I heard about this Akaushi. I've been studying it a little bit. You need to buy an Akaushi. I saw him online." No. About the fourth time he came to me pestering me about this Akaushi, kind of looked into it a little bit, and I kind of found the price, and it kind of a little on the expensive side. So I said, "Maybe you need to put your money where your mouth is."
Well done.
He did.
Really?
He bought me a bull. He sure did.
There you go.
He came up with some money and bought a mature bull that's Outback, JMK Outback 298D. You may be familiar with him. Turned out to be a really amazing bull. And he also bought 5 cows and a real young bull, a bull calf. So anyway, we still have Outback. We've since sold the other bull. We've had a tremendous number of offspring from Outback, and 4 of the original 5 cows are still alive and doing well. And that was, I guess, 7 years ago when this all happened. I quickly got hooked after getting into the Akaushi, and of course, within a couple of years, we were having calves and growing some for our own slaughter, and the beef really tells the story.
Oh, it's exceptional, isn't it?
The first time we were able to slaughter our own steers for our own use, we really knew the difference.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really
It's
knew the difference.
unmistakable.
And we took some of those tough Brahma cows. We still had some of them that were in the herd at that time, and they were making amazing steer calves, and the beef was just fantastic. So I feel like we had tough and tougher for mama cows.
Yeah.
And then we mixed this Brahma bull with them, and the offspring.
Akaushi bull.
That's right, the Akaushi bull, and the offspring was fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was really illustrative to me. You know, I remember the first time coming down to your place, and you had bought a series of Dos Equis bull pregnancies. I wanted to jump in here with a quick note that Ric bought those Dos Equis bull pregnancies in one of our auctions. Our next auction is coming up on October 22nd at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. To get the earliest access and the best bid prices on that auction, go to gotanycows.com and use the subscribe section at the bottom of the page to join our email list. That will give you the earliest access and the best bid prices on our next auction closing October 22nd at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And so Davis and I came trucking down out of Idaho, came all the way down to Conroe, Texas. So clear down there by Houston and you know, arrived exactly when I said we would, definitely not off by like 6 hours, you know. Arrived right on time, not after dinner, into the wee hours of the morning. Like, yeah, I arrived significantly later than I meant to, but you were incredible. You and Cynthia have always been incredibly generous hosts. I really enjoyed visiting with you. And I mean, that was the first time we'd met, and you were
First time you saw Outback.
Yes, yep. And you were kind enough to put us up right there at your home, and anyway, just super generous with us. And I remember sitting down. I mean, so I roll into your place. It's got to have been 10 o'clock at night or whatever.
10 o'clock.
You know?
That's
Yeah.
about 2 hours past my bedtime.
Yep. So we rolled in really late, and yeah, not only did you not run me off the place, you said, "Hey, let me get you some beef," and not only let me get you some beef, let me get you some Akaushi steak, and it was just fantastic as it is, and you know, and I was figuring, I'm like, oh man, this calf's got to have had, you know, really good dam, a really good, you know, nice bottom side to that pedigree. And we go out the following morning to tour the herd, and you say, you know, this rodeo stock looking thing, this is the mother to that steak last night.
That's right.
And for me, honestly, I mean, that was an illustrative moment to say, okay, not only can Akaushi make a great steak when you put them over an Akaushi cow or a really nice Angus cow, Akaushi can make a great steak even when they've got their work cut out for them. You know, going over something that the eared cattle aren't necessarily well renowned for making great beef, and you can take this Akaushi, put it over even that, and man alive, that was and specifically Outback. You know, that would have been an Outback sired steak that we were eating there. And I mean, I couldn't give a stronger vote of confidence for the Akaushi breed or for Outback as a sire than the kind of steak he turned out coming off that cow.
So I remember that steak very well, by the way, because I remember telling you, we went out and looked at that longhorn. Her horns were about this long. Her mother was a full-blood longhorn. So the dam of that
So she's a longhorn
steer
Brahma.
was
Yeah.
a longhorn crossed with a Brahma. So I kind of think that's lean and mean and tough.
Mean and tough and not,
And so you have what you think is just the leanest of cows, and you put a Akaushi bull out there, and the beef is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
That's huge. Like, not only did we move, we didn't go from terrible to just barely acceptable. I mean, that's the thing that was just nuts to me. We didn't make like incremental progress in that Akaushi cross. We went from probably about the worst of the worst beef quality wise, clear up there. Like, this was an exceptionally good steak. Like I remember sitting there and eating the steak. You know?
And I cooked that steak. So that really was kind of a negative because I'm not really the chef in my family. And I cooked that steak for you, and I think I did a good job. It's hard to mess up. a good steak like that. You just put them on the grill, you count the minutes, you watch your steak, you flip it, you pull it off, and you eat something delicious.
And it was delicious. I mean, that's, like I said, there's trips you remember, and that was one of them. Coming in that late and getting to stay there at you and Cynthia's place and have a wonderful steak, and then seeing that cow and being like, this Outback bull, there's something to me, and at that point in time, I was still, at that point in time, still doing pretty well entirely the polled genetics, and then we brought in the full bloods after the fact in my program. So I didn't even realize all of what Outback was just as a full blood or the pedigree behind him till after the fact, and then put two and two together as you and I were looking at his pedigree one day. Not only did he sire this fantastic steak, but this is a Katsukari son out of a full sister to international, and then went ahead and I mean, you got a wonderful picture put up on him, and he did a great job putting up both conventional and sexed semen. And I mean, we have sent semen everywhere on that bull. I really appreciate you working with me on that and letting me work with you to distribute that semen. And we've got Outback daughters at my place. There are Outback daughters all over the United States at this point in time.
Yeah, I definitely have some Outback daughters at my place.
Yeah, at least one or two.
Yeah, they're great. Many great mama cows now. We've had them in our herd for so many years now that we're getting quite a few generations off of them. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you, the reason you came to my house was to bring me those recips with some polled genetics. Right. And now those bull calves are mature now.
Yes.
And they're in my breeding herd. I'm rotating Outback. Got to give the old boy a break every now and then.
You bet.
We're rotating different bulls in and out, and so I'm excited to get some of those polled genetics on my herd as well.
Yeah.
So we'll be seeing those this year. This year, I hadn't actually got results of DNA tests back or anything, but I'm sure some of the calves that I've got born early this spring are from there.
Yeah, and I'm excited going forward. It's fun, and this is what makes this breed and this convention and these associations, these friendships, so much fun. Is I brought you that day Angus cows that were pregnant with polled Akaushi bull calves. Right, we ate the steak, had a great experience there, worked together on Outback and everything else. That went fantastic. And then now it's fun to see those same pregnancies that I brought years ago. Now we're looking at them saying, hey, look, we have at your place a polled bull that's a grandson of Master Chef, and so to have a polled bull that's bringing Master Chef to the table in your Tucker bull, and I'm excited to go to work here as soon as we can get a picture put together on him. The value of that pedigree to bring Master Chef into the polled population, to bring Dos Equis in on the top side, and then Tucker is a bull. We're putting him to use in my operation. I would imagine you're doing the same in yours, and excited to work together on a bull like that.
Yeah, Tucker looks fantastic. He's a beautiful animal.
Yeah. No, I look forward to it, and I think that's what makes, and I've talked about this with several podcast guests, but what makes this such a unique breed and such an enjoyable convention is that there's opportunities for things like that. Hey, a real neat bull, Outback, Tucker, whatever else comes out of your program, let's use those individuals to move the breed forward, right? Or to move a series of programs forward. Same deal, neat bulls or cows or whatever come out of my program, let's use those to help move other programs forward. And that's what I see moving the breed at large forward, is the contributions of all these individual programs, all these good people, and then the relationships we form through events like this convention to move the breed at large forward is exciting to me.
I think that's really neat, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Tell me a little bit at this point in time, Rick. You've got the Outback bull at home. You've got the Tucker bull at home. Neat to have a couple of stud bulls right there in-house and part of your program and there for live cover. Tell me what your program looked like, I guess, going back to the day I arrived and brought those first pregnancies, and you just had Outback out there, and it was more kind of an F1 style program, versus today, if I'm not mistaken, are you selling embryos in the Akaushi convention sale tonight?
I am. That's right.
Walk us. How did that happen? How did we go all the way from F1s to selling embryos at the convention?
Well, I guess you might say that I got the bug after eating the steak, after seeing the beef, and really getting hooked and becoming a believer in it, which it doesn't take more than one bite. And you're a believer in this.
There's no going back.
All you have to do is put an Akaushi bull on your herd, your plain herd, and you improve the beef 100-fold.
Dramatically. Yep.
Right. So I'm definitely hooked. And then I kind of got excited about some of the additional things that I could do with embryos. We have some wonderful companies fairly close to me. Within an hour and a half of where I live, I can be at some of the best embryologists in the country. So I've kind of I went from being very ignorant to just kind of toying around with it. I'm sure I made a couple of mistakes along the way, but there's really not anything you can do particularly wrong that's going to hurt anything. I just bought some semen straws from around the country, tried to put some things together that I thought might be good with my program, which just means I was trying to get some different genetics than what I already had. For example, you sold me some Dos Equis bull calf recips, so I was trying to find some things that were different than Dos Equis. Sure. And I've just had a really good time doing that. Spent a little money along the way, but
it costs a little to do it.
Yeah, my recommendation to anyone would maybe go into that a little slowly. Don't feel like you have to do a bunch all at one time. Do 2 or 3 and have fun with it, and learn along the way.
Yeah.
I probably did a few more than I should have, but anyway, it's been really great. It's been fun. Right now, I have a few too many. I probably have about 85 mama cows. I've been trying to go more towards having an F1 herd instead of having a cross, just other types of animals, other breeds, non-Akaushi, and having F1s as the calf. I think what I'm leaning towards doing now is kind of keeping more of my F1 heifers so that my offspring will be F2s. Sure. My theory in that is the beef is going to be even better. Sure. Stay tuned. Yeah. Maybe I'll join you on a podcast in a year or so and give you some feedback. But along the way, to any newcomers to this industry, I will tell you that it's hard not to find your favorite cows and to just fall in love with some of them. And that's happened. So there's a few cows, some of them not Akaushi, that we'll probably keep around for a long time. Yeah. And so those are proving to be great mama cows as well. We still have a Brangus, which is a cross between a Brahma and not registered, of course, but a cross between that mean old Brahma that we had in the beginning and my Angus bull. And this little heifer calf would come over to the side of the fence and let us pet her. You just can't help but to fall in love with her, right? So she'll probably stay around my place for a long time, even though she doesn't have Akaushi. She has wonderful offspring, though, wonderful calves. Yeah. So you bet. We're excited. We're excited with where our herd is now. I sell private treaty mostly to friends and family, and just word of mouth. People that find out about me will sell some heifers, sometimes bred heifers. I kind of like to raise them up to the point where they're able to be bred. They're old enough and large enough, and we'll breed them to a wonderful bull, either polled or Outback. Maybe a couple other choices that I have. And we found success in that. People like the idea of buying a heifer that's already old enough and big enough to be bred. Yeah. And so I'm finding some success in that. And I probably need to maintain my herd at about 70, 75 cows instead of 85. So I always try to keep a few extra to sell when somebody wants one. So that's where I'm at.
I appreciate you sharing all of that, Rick, because that kind of gives us a feel for kind of where you were at and where you are now. And, a couple different things I'd maybe have you expand on a little for us if you would. 2 experiences in particular stick out. I guess one, walk us through a little bit of how everything worked on Outback as far as kind of getting him promoted and getting that picture taken and how we worked together on all that. And then Outback or I guess your comments on Tucker. And then I would also be curious to hear just kind of, I remember being out there with you one year and we were looking at it. It was a tight feed year. It was hard to get feed. Feed was costing a lot, and all those things. Walk us through both, one, what it's like to try to promote and sell a bull as a stud bull, sell semen on a bull, because I think that's something a lot of people would like to do, but that could be challenging. Walk us through what that process was like. And then 2, walk us through, feed and what it costs to feed them, and what kind of animals you'd rather run the feed through if you're going to have to feed cows?
Yeah, that's a great question. In the beginning, when you and I first started talking about Outback and his genetics and perhaps sharing his genetics with other people around the country, I was kind of thrilled because this is something that I didn't know anything about. So obviously I'm excited about it. I found out that there's a place relatively close to me, again, in the big scheme of things, about an hour and a half. College Station, Bryan area is real accessible to me. So there's everything you can think of in that area with respect to cattle.
Yeah.
So I found a place where they would collect the semen from the bulls, and I would drop him off and leave him there a week or two and pick him back up. And they would do several collection rounds. ST Genetics is very close to that location as well. And so it's real easy for them to get the semen down to ST Genetics from there same day as collection.
Yeah.
And they can actually sort him. He sorted very easy. Apparently not all bulls sort real easy. Outback sorted the first time. We had successful collections and successful sort, and we just kept the female sorted semen. And apparently that's something that's very sought after around the
Yes.
country.
Absolutely.
People want
Yeah.
the female sexed semen.
Yes.
So
yes.
we've used that in our program and some of the embryos that I've made, and so far everyone's been female that was supposed to be female. They don't guarantee you that it'd be all female, but it seems to be that way.
Yeah, I say usually 90% is normal. Or if you're like Rick, it's 100. If you're like me, it's maybe less than
Maybe
90, but 90 is what
80%,
it's
yeah,
supposed
but
to
we
be.
average out. It's been an interesting thing for me to do. You were kind enough to work with me on the semen sales. You've been really kind enough to even kind of promote the bull. And so from that perspective, it's been an interesting ride for me because I feel like I've got you teaching me,
Sure, yeah.
helping me along the way, and showing me the right way to do that. But really, it's been more fun for me just to use what I've wanted to use, and it's been fun for me to hear from other people around the country that they're having successful pregnancies and successful calving. Outback has fairly small calves. As a matter of fact, I don't know what the largest calf is, but I'm gonna say it's been about 74 pounds on the largest bull calf that I've had. Most of the calves are down in the 64, 65 range, especially the heifers. So very small calves, which is a good thing, especially for heifer pregnancies.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, and so I've enjoyed that very much from that perspective, just sharing something that we have to share.
You bet. What did it take to get that picture taken? I mean, Outback put up a beautiful picture, and that's been a key component in marketing him well, and that's what we've waited on as far as releasing Tucker and incorporating him into our marketing program, is just getting the picture done, because as you well know, it's challenging. It's time consuming. It doesn't happen right away, but boy, Outback took a wonderful picture. What did it take to get that picture done?
Well, I went out there and I told Outback to pose.
And he just squared up and said, "Here I am."
Say cheese. You know, I'm kind of kidding, but I'm kind of serious too. We had Outback in the pasture. We didn't have him in a pen. We didn't have him in a small area. We had him in the pasture. And we started taking pictures. A young man that helps me out there on the ranch, well, I should say I help him out on the ranch. There's a young man that lives down the street from me came over and was helping. He would kind of hold a sack. Sometimes we'll use a little feed, but I don't think we had any feed out there because we didn't really know to do that. And we had a photographer, and the photographer was not particularly a cattle photographer, but she was out there to take lots of pictures, and she probably wrapped off about 300 shots with the digital camera, and a really nice digital camera. She didn't particularly know all of what she had in the poses, so she was just trying to take a lot of pictures for us. And then we went through there and found that picture. There were actually quite a few good pictures, but it's interesting to note just how gentle Outback is. He didn't run off. He wasn't bothered by us. He was entertained by us holding our hand up, or a little piece of plastic, just holding it up to try to get him to lift his head. And we could pet him. Just a wonderful temperament.
Love that.
Of an animal. This big, massive, he's generally just under 2,000 pounds, and just this big, massive bull, just as gentle as a teddy bear, just a sweet guy. And he really cooperated with us. And now I've tried to take pictures of some others, and you just can't ever seem to get that perfect shot.
Yes, it's a challenging thing.
It is, getting their feet correct. And Outback's never been on a halter. He's never been a show bull or show animal. So nobody taught him how to pose. And he was just giving us lots and lots of opportunities. And the photographer did her job and got several for us to choose from.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really happy with the way that one turned out. I think he's...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful shot.
It is.
We've had nothing but positive feedback on that shot of Outback, and that is important. Having a quality shot of a quality animal. The animal, for most people that aren't going to make the trip to Conroe and see him, that picture to them is Outback. So if we had a poor quality image, it's a poor quality bull. And so I think a lot of importance in the effort you put into getting that shot. But jumping to the other question I'd had for you there, we had the one day we were sitting looking at cattle and we were talking, feed was hard to come by and it was a drought year and hard to get hay. It's hard to keep everything fed. Walk us through kind of, as you look at it now, you were talking about herd size and things like that, but what kind of animal would you prefer to feed? Given that they all eat and they all eat a lot, what kind of animal would you prefer to spend the time and feed and money taking care of at your place?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because the Akaushi generally are a little bit smaller frame animal, and some of the other animals that I've had from other breeds can be 1,500 pounds.
Easy. And
they're going to consume more grass. They're going to consume more feed. They're going to consume more of anything that there is. Yopon bushes, whatever you feed them. The Akaushi, or in my case now, I'm going to have more and more half Akaushis, 50% Akaushi cows. They're going to consume a little bit more because their frame size is going to be a little more in the 1,100 to 1,200 pound range, is what I'm finding. I have some examples, by the way. I have some examples of some larger than that, but it's not the average. It's not the norm.
Sure. So. You bet. That makes sense. And, like you mentioned, just adding more Akaushi to the mix is both decreasing feed cost by keeping those animals a little smaller and increasing value by saying, hey, this is going to make an even better steak. And then in the case of, your purebreds and your full bloods, adding a genetic market opportunity versus only a beef market opportunity. Jumping over to that, the genetics specifically, the embryos, the semen, things like that. I guess looking specifically at embryos, if you would with me for a minute, what have you learned as you've gone through that whole process? You mentioned, you might not jump into it quite as big or quite as fast or quite as much. What has been good about jumping into embryos versus what are some things you would do maybe a little different? Embryos, and I'm going to mention two other things real quick just because I don't want to space them. Embryos, the bull calves that come from embryos, what to do with them or how to go about that. And then any closing thoughts you have in particular that you'd like to share with other new breeders that are maybe just a couple years behind you in their Akaushi journey per se and about to go through those same years you just did. So embryos, what to do about embryos, what to do about bull calves, and closing thoughts for anyone listening.
Yeah, so I might not understand the science behind everything because, like I said, I went to Texas A&M and they taught me nothing about
Don't
cattle.
say anything not nice about Texas A&M. We'll get lynched here.
Right. Well, I can say a lot of good things about Texas A&M, but the truth is they didn't teach me anything about cattle. So one thing I found out when you're doing a IVF, the easiest way to collect embryos is to take your donor cow to the collection facility and do an IVF. They do what's called an aspiration, and they remove oocytes from your donor cow, and it's really fast.
It's easy.
Right, and we wait on the cow. They'll take the donor cow in off the trailer, And if you have one donor cow, you're done in 15 minutes. If you have 4 donor cows, you're done in an hour. So we actually wait and we take the cows back home with us. So the next day, they take your semen straw and add it to the petri dish. And they're going to make embryos. They're going to fertilize your oocytes, and they're going to make embryos in the petri dish. And each donor cow's oocytes are separated in their own petri dish, and they can use the same semen straw for however many donor cows you have.
Right.
So
that's a lot of what pushes the value of these straws so high now.
That's
you can
right.
spread it so far.
That's right.
In
So,
an IVF setting.
So if you buy a Big Owl semen straw, you're going to spend a lot of money on the semen straw, but you can actually fertilize quite a few different oocytes and different donor cows with that one semen straw. So it makes an expensive straw go a little further. So in the case of Big Owl, you cannot buy sexed semen.
Right.
So this is something that I've learned. The semen straws, the IVF process, we're using standard regular semen straws, produces more bull calves than heifer calves. And again, I don't really understand the science behind it all, but I just know
my luck's just rubbed off on you a little.
yeah, it's just a fact. If you don't use sexed semen, you're going to end up with more bull calves. And right now, bull calves, the market's kind of down for bull calves a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that the money is particularly there in that, to produce an embryo, to implant an embryo, and to get that can sometimes be an expensive process. In the neighborhood of $4,000 just by the time you get a recip cow home with the embryo. That's them providing you with the recip cow. So turnkey, that package is about $4,000 to put a dollar figure, and you're almost guaranteed a bull calf.
Right.
And if you use sexed semen, you're almost guaranteed a heifer calf. Now your productivity might be a little lower. Sexed semen isn't quite as potent or as strong as the regular semen.
Correct.
But you're really guaranteed a heifer calf, and generally that's what you're looking for, is the heifer calf.
Right.
So that's something to consider, and I know that now. I don't know why, but I know that now. So then you end up with extra bull calves, and then the question is what to do with them.
Right.
I have bulls to sell, by the way. As a result, I have some more Big Owl sons.
You bet.
And of course, you can't keep them all. I want to keep them all.
Right. Yeah.
And that's one thing where if you have a pretty good breeding, it is interesting to people.
Sure.
If they recognize that bull, and that bull has some genetic qualities that they want. There's many bulls out there. I've harped on Big Owl just because he's kind of a famous guy in the Akaushi world. But I don't think I'll have a problem selling the Big Owl sons and some of the others. A lot of them we just have to cut and put back into our beef industry, which brings me to saying that I do provide beef to my family and friends, and boy, do I have a lot of family and friends when it comes to Akaushi beef, right?
Yeah, you bet, absolutely. And and I think you're not at all alone in that experience, Rick. I think that's very, very normal. As people get in, they get quite excited and say, "Hey, look, I'd love to get some of these foundation bulls. We could make some embryos. These are some neat cows. I'd love to multiply them." And while obviously I am a proponent of embryo transfer, I mean it's the center of my business. It's what we do all day, every day is embryo transfer. But I think it's really easy to really quickly have a whole bunch of embryos, and then either A, be short recips to carry all the embryos, and or B, you've got a whole bunch of bull calves that weren't necessarily the goal, versus having a bunch of heifer calves that were. And that's one of the things, you mentioned the female sexed semen on Outback, and that's part of what has made that bull so popular, is that he is available in female sexed semen. And so in that setting, even if it is only 90% accurate, So say you get 9 heifers for every 1 bull. Well, that's a lot better ratio to say, well, we only need 1 bull per 25 cows anyway. So unless you're looking to market a whole bunch of bulls or looking to castrate a whole bunch of embryo transfer bull calves, that sexed semen is an extremely valuable tool.
Yeah, because if you don't use the sex semen, I'm thinking your ratio of bulls to heifers is probably 2/3. You're probably going to get 65% bulls.
Sure, and
or more.
even if they came in at 50, so say statistically, technically, theoretically, they should always be 50. My luck is about like yours. The last conventional flush that we just fetal sexed, I got 12 bulls and a heifer is what I got off of a conventional flush there. But again, statistically, it should be 50-50. Quite often, it's going to err on the side of bulls, but even at 50-50, you've got a whole bunch of bulls that unless you have a marketing program for or a pre-existing clientele design for, or you know who's going to need that bull calf, it can be a lot more challenging marketing proposition and or just a really expensive steer. Whereas if you can make a female, there's a breeder to breeder marketplace for those females that's active. Those female sexed embryos will do better. Female sexed pregnancies will do better. And so an opportunity to kind of capitalize on that. And so I would say, looking back through your experience at large, a couple of key points that come to mind as you've shared, your experience and how you went from the beginning to now would be, one, just the opportunity of developing these stud bulls, and what a neat thing that you brought female sexed semen on a Katsukari son out of a great cow to the marketplace. What a neat thing that was. But then the other two that do stand out is saying, hey, let's stock this ranch with the most valuable cows possible versus with just any given cow. And when it comes time to make some embryos, let's look at maybe we either make them female sexed or we maybe don't make as many, because it's sure easy to have a whopping recip bill or a whopping embryo bill and maybe not have what you were looking to get out of that. Would there be anything that you would edit or add from what I've just said there as far as some takeaways, I guess, that I've had as I've learned alongside you?
No, I think you're spot on. And what I've found is it is, especially from a small ranch, it's definitely easier to sell your heifers to other farms, to other ranches, because other ranches want and need heifers. They need 1 bull. They need more heifers.
Right.
And so I feel like we're producing some really high quality heifers from the bull that we have, from a few of the bulls that we have now. And I think that as time goes forward, that's what I'm going to concentrate on. I'm going to try to have a good quality bull, and with the characteristics that I want. I want different genetics on my heifers if I can get them. And when I have too many heifers, I think they're going to be easy to market.
You bet. So as we close here, Rick, anything in particular that you would share, looking back, if you were talking to yourself a handful of years ago or to anybody else that's in your shoes, maybe starting an Akaushi herd or building an Akaushi herd, new to Akaushi or new to cattle, is there anything that you would say, do this, and or anything you would say, don't do that? Any words of advice that you would share with the person in that situation?
The first time I was introduced to the Akaushi was from my brother saying, they make better steaks. I want better steaks. Make me some better steaks. And I'm telling him to go away. Leave me alone. If I had it to do over again, he wouldn't have to tell me twice. I wouldn't have even made him buy the bull. I made him come up with the money. I said, put your money where your mouth is. And he did. He came up with the money to buy the bull.
Love it.
And so that, by the way, that's where our ranch is, Flying 4F. Akaushi, or Flying 4F Ranch. And we are going all Akaushi. And I wouldn't have taken so long to heed my brother's advice. So now, since he's one of the 4Fs in Flying 4F, and he's enjoying the steak with me. So do it sooner. Get your Akaushi bull sooner and don't wait. There's just absolutely no reason to continue providing regular beef, because that's the way it's been done here in the United States for all of time. We need to grow this Akaushi thing and keep telling people about it because it's the way to go. So to answer your question directly, I would have done it sooner. I wouldn't have bought a black Angus bull. I would have got rid of the Brahma bull and got an Akaushi bull right away.
You bet. Absolutely. Anything that you would say, hey, don't do this, or just don't wait, would be, I guess, the biggest takeaway there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, don't wait. Don't feel like you've got to go get rid of all your regular cows.
Sure.
What we talked about earlier is by just simply adding one animal to your operation, one animal, one bull, and your beef just improved 100-fold.
Absolutely. I love it. You know, Rick, I have to tell you, I just so appreciate you and Cynthia as my friends, you know, in addition to business associates, and am thrilled that we've been able to provide some cattle, to sell some cattle to you, and also to flip that around and help market some genetics from your program. And I'm grateful for you guys and for the lessons learned along the way. I look at it every time I sit down to share with everybody or hop on the phone with you or anybody else I'm chatting with, just a neat opportunity to learn. And I think that's what I most value about coming to these Akaushi conventions, the opportunity to sit down together, you know, grab a bite to eat, catch up on a podcast, whatever it may be, but to build those relationships and to learn together, you know, and I'm just excited for what we'll continue to do, you know, in business and for this breed. So
I will add one more thing.
Sure.
A guy down the road that knows a lot more about cows than I do, he asked me about my cattle, and I told him about this Akaushi. He said, I want to buy one. I want to buy a steer. So we had a steer processed, and he picked it up, put it in his freezer. And the first night, they had hamburgers. So next day I called him and said, did you have an opportunity to try a steak? No, the kids wanted hamburgers, good burgers. I saw him a couple of weeks later, and he said, I want you to know something. I did try a steak, and that beef that you sold me is fantastic.
Love it.
He also bought a bull from me.
Yeah.
The beef sells itself. The beef
That's
sells
exactly
itself.
right. The beef sells it 100%. Well, I so much appreciate you taking the time to record with me, Rick. Is there anything else you want to add, edit, or remove before we wrap her up and go get us some dinner?
Let's go.
Let's do it. I appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Got Any Cows podcast. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and visit us anytime at gotanycows.com.